Thiago Motta once discussed the idea of playing a 2-7-2 formation, which already sounds crazy given that adds up to 11 outfield players, but his idea was misinterpreted, and ever since it has been used to mock the manager during his career, especially after being sacked after just 9 games in charge at Genoa. But now it will be the Bologna coach Motta who has had the last laugh. Bologna, in my opinion, play some of the juiciest stuff in Serie A with their Roman central defenders, continuous rotations, dynamic possession shapes and protagonists with the ball, completing and attempting the second most passes in the league. They are just 3 points off the top 4 in Serie A, which is incredible for Bologna, who aren't expected to be anywhere near the Champions League qualification. After reading these theses, I've discovered that Thiago Motta loves the ball. Yes, I'm talking about the football, and we're going to break down the 2-7-2 system because somebody has to, and we're going to figure out how Bologna are playing some of the best football in Serie A. As mentioned just moments ago, I did read Thiago Motta's thesis to try and get inside his brain a little, and what an interesting man he is. But this is also where and how I started to understand his 2-7-2 theory a lot better. Rather than it being a formation with 7 midfielders as we know it, which would be insane, his tactics are read horizontally and not vertically as we usually do. We are meant to be reading his formation from left to right or right to left. So in his 4-3-3, the left side would have 2 players. The middle zone would have 7, which includes the goalkeeper, and then the right side would have 2 again. But why does he include the goalkeeper? A quote from the man himself: "For me, the attacker is the first defender and the goalkeeper is the first attacker. The goalkeeper starts to play with his feet and the attackers are the first to put pressure to recover the ball." So everything seems back to front in Thiago Motta's world, but it's also a stroke of genius if you ask me. His coaching principles is to play offensively, a team that controls the game, high pressure and a lot of movement with and without the ball. Motta wants as many passing lanes as possible available to the player that has the ball, which is usually 3 or 4 passing options. So now we're starting to understand how a team like Bologna can have the 3rd highest possession percentage in the Serie A, completing the 2nd most passes. But there's more to it, of course, so let's see what they do with this possession. Bologna are slow and intricate in possession, but it's also mixed with high intensity in their transitions. Despite being patient in possession, you'll often see continuous rotations, numerical advantages over the pressing team and 3rd man combinations. One way Bologna achieve all of those is by using Roman central defenders. Yes, you heard right. Bologna's central defenders will move out from the defense line and move into central midfield. Some of us know this as the John Stones role, but at Bologna, it's not just one centre back that does it, both do it, of course, with the timing being right. The difference here as well is that you will see the libero in the goal scoring position, all without them leaving the team exposed. The central defenders are integral. Building from the back, we mentioned the goalkeeper looks to be involved. As he pushes forward into the defence line, we'll start to see one of the central defenders move ahead to create a passing lane and create a numerical advantage, but also depth so Bologna can progress. The central defenders don't just go wandering off, leaving a massive gap though. When the libero realises the free space to move into, the defensive midfielder will recognise this and cover. This is a clever way of interchanging positions to progress the ball forward. All players in the Bologna starting 11 are required to leave their position from time to time and become a passing option, so there are no real defined roles within the Bologna system. Thiago Motta has a high level of trust in his players. Bologna are a team that passes the ball in shorter distances and patiently build while luring the opposition's press, with Bologna's build-up often starting with the goalkeeper, or should I say midfielder. If you haven't guessed it, Bologna rack up a high level of passes per sequence, with fewer longer passes of course, and play with width rather than building vertically. In possession, they may look to switch to a 2-3-2-3 formation with plenty of roaming in the midfield 7, whilst the 2 wingers hold their width on the touchline, getting at fullbacks for one-on-one situations, and this width is vital. Bologna having 25.8 meters width per passing sequence. In context, only Napoli have wider width. But one of Bologna's most intriguing traits in possession, or transition, is how they behave in transitions, especially with the intensity and combinations when after they've won the ball in more advanced areas of the pitch. Not allowing defenses to settle, lots of off the ball movements are made, and quick one-touch passes are often how they will exploit unsettled defenses. Going back to his thesis for just a moment, Thiago Motta is heavily inspired by Marcelo Bielsa. The collective technique is highly important in Thiago Motta's system, which is something that he saw in Bielsa's leads, having trust in your teammates and all players actively participating in all various phases of the game. So you can imagine how far from rigged his system will be, all the way to the attack. Fluidity can create unpredictability and is one reason why you will see many positional interchanges in Motta's system. Makes it difficult for defenders to track specific players, especially in a man-to-man press. Through all of this, Bologna aren't the highest scorers in the league. They sit around 10th when looking at the XG, but it doesn't mean that you don't see the team or individual quality in attack, especially when it comes to Joshua Zirkzee and Lewis Ferguson. Joshua Zirkzee, or Joshua Zirkzee, I just had to go to Google pronunciations, and Lewis Ferguson individually are having really good seasons, but together they are a dynamic duo. Ferguson plays just behind Joshua Zirkzee, and his constant movement often opens passing lanes directly to Zirkzee, who has excellent hold-up play, ability to lay it off, and has been their main man in attack. And talking about interchanging, with Zirkzee often looking to drop like a false 9, Ferguson then becomes a goal-scoring threat, making runs off the dropping movements. Compared to other midfielders in Serie A, he's ranked in the 98th percentile for goals, 92nd for non-penalty XG, and 88th for shots at goal, further showing how much of a threat he's been in attack, but major thanks to the profile of Zirkzee. Must mention, Zirkzee's dropping movements isn't just useful for Ferguson, but for the wingers too. He leads the line extremely well and has been a constant outball for Bologna, whether they are launching a counter-attack or playing more direct to beat a high press that they've just lured in. It's smart. Motta's team out of possession are incredibly tough to break down. They hardly allow shots at their goal, boasting 16th place when it comes to shots conceded and 15th with XG conceded. Capable of deploying all three blocks, which of course depends on the opposition and game state. So defensively, the whole team are contributing. As Motta said, defense starts with the attacker. They press intensely, which does not automatically translate to high pressing Liverpool style with many turnovers. They work in a block as a team, denying space, and will press intensely. So that is why Bologna have been able to push for European football and are close to that Champions League position. Motta claims he is only focused on getting European football for Bologna for the first time since the 2000 season in the UEFA Cup. But now it is time for that Football Manager tactic. If you are enjoying the content, then please consider supporting the channel through Patreon. Come and join our tactical talks, but also you can send me your tactics as I look to start saving your tactics. So come over and join man like Spencer, Davey the Hammer, Stargazer Gaming, and Brill Bad Bear, who have just recently joined. I won't be spending much time on the result part. I will be showing you some key information, just like Bologna finishing second in Serie A, winning 24 out of the 38 games. We do want to look at the possession because that is kind of the most important part of the tactic. We did have 57% possession of the ball. Now, context, Bologna are expected to finish around mid-table, media prediction 11th in Football Manager. So having 57% average possession over the whole season is very, very impressive. And of course, we're having games where we're holding 72% of the ball, 82% even of the possession against certain teams. Looking at the fewest conceded, again, Bologna are very tight at the back. We did concede 39 goals, but shots against We are second when it comes with the fewest with 278. So either the central defenders or defenders wasn't good enough, or the goalkeeper was letting in shots that he shouldn't have been. And then looking at the most shots for, it is Bologna at top, and the most goals, we are in second. Joshua Zirkzee scored 16 goals in 36 starts with 6 assists, and Lewis Ferguson scored 13 goals in 32 starts. So very impressive output from both of the star players. Now, I also wanted to see the full potential of the tactic. Thiago Motta is currently rumoured to be joining Juve, so I thought, why not test it at Juve, where of course we are going to get better results with some better players. We did lose 4 games during 3, but we also did win 31 games out of the 38. Now, looking at the most possession, or the average possession, Juve are on top with 61%. Most dribbles, we do drop down to 4th. Looking at the fewest conceded though, now we can see the potential of the defense in this tactic. We did concede 19 goals, which is the second best, and then the clean sheets, we did get 22 clean sheets. Fewer shots against, it is Juve, and the most shots for, it is also Juve. So now to the actual most important part, the tactic. There are going to be 4 different tactics, kind of 4 different scenarios. We do have the main version, one when you are away to a big team. We also do have an away version, but then another version of when I was managing Juve. They all have some slight differences, not major differences. In goal, we are using a sweeper keeper in attack, so try and get the goalkeeper to play out with the ball at his feet. In central defense, we have a ball playing defender and a libero. Of course, it will be overly risky playing with 2 liberos at the back. I didn't necessarily want to do that. Plus, the ball playing defender can bring the ball out with carrying it anyway. The inverted fullback is on defend, of course, taking more risks, running wide with the ball and tackling harder, with the left back on support, taking more risks, sitting more narrow and tackling harder. The holding midfielder is taking more risks with tackle harder, with the box-to-box midfielder dribbling more, running wide with the ball and staying wider, because when I was watching against Roma, Moro picked up some interesting positions out in those wider left areas. Moving into the attacking area now, the inverted winger on the left-hand side, staying wider, taking fewer risks with the ball. The attacking midfielder is on get further forward, tackle harder, and mark tighter as well, which is fairly important, marking that opposition number 6 out of the game. And then on the right-hand side, we do have a winger on support, taking more risks, tackling harder as well. The team instructions, when we are building out from the back, the attacking width is on fairly wide. We are playing out from the back, of course, and the passing directness is set to shorter with the tempo on standard. If you feel that you are just playing with the ball too much and not really progressing, then do up that tempo to slightly shorter. You won't necessarily lose the possession stats, but your team will progress with the ball fairly quicker. In the final third, low crosses, work the ball into the box, trying to get those cutbacks and then run at the defense. In transition, counter press after we've lost the ball, and then when we have won the ball, we are going to go on a counter attack with the goalkeeper distributing the ball to the centre back and taking short kicks. I want him to drop the ball out of his hands and then play with the ball with his feet. Out of possession, a high press with a high defensive line. We could have went for a low block, we could have went for a mid block, and we could have went for a high press. In Football Manager, a high press tends to give you better results, so that's just what I went for, just to have a bit of fun when playing the game. Now, you can drop to mid block for more realism, but then of course the results may drop off. Trigger press much more often and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. When you are away to a big side, not much has changed apart from the mentality is now on balance and the passing directness has been boosted up a little bit. And for the Juve version, we are using a winger on attack on the right hand side and a target forward up top. A target forward is slowly becoming my favourite role in Football Manager. I should make a video about it. But for the main version, the reason why I love the main version, looking at the team fluidity, it is very fluid. So lots of roaming. Of course, if I just change one duty from this situation here, let's say pressing forward on attack, then it does change to fluid. And now if I go to support, it goes to very fluid. You may be also wondering why I'm using Joshua Zirkzee as a pressing forward. Now, I've kind of taken the goalkeeper plays with the ball, starts attack, and the striker starts defense a bit too literally. So the goalkeeper, super keeper on attack, and the striker on pressing forward on support. The pressing forward, of course, trying to be defensive in winning the ball back. Not kind of defensive player, but doing his defensive work. And of course, we got a version when you are just playing away from home regardless. All the tactics will be available in the download folder. You can go and download it and check out the team instructions and player instructions in a little bit more detail. I will see you guys soon. Stay safe. I hope you enjoyed this video because I've enjoyed recording it. Absolutely loved the research as well. But stay safe. God bless and peace out.